Talk about season 5, episode 5. That doesn't make any sense. Don't mind that. SisterHunt. Let's talk about it. Okay, so before we get into it, there's going to be plenty of spoilers in this one, so I really warn you to click off if you haven't seen episode 5, season 5, or anything before that, because we're going to cover all that stuff right here. Before we get into it, make sure to hit the like button and leave a comment. The YouTube algorithm loves that. Alright, so we're going to first tackle the fact about what happened with everybody in season 4. I took a day off. People deserve days off, right? We can't work every day. So basically episode 4, we saw the return of Axel, Julius, the Doc. At the end of it, we saw the Doc went out to meet Jolene. So it was nice to see the full group back together. We also got some answers to what happened at the end of season 4, basically. At the end of season 4, we saw that our characters were not healing. We were like, what happened all of a sudden? Remember, everybody who Vanessa turned back to normal actually had a healing factor from then on, if they were vampires before. So we found out that the orange gas that was released to kill the vampires actually had 3 different effects. Let's go through them. Effect number 1, it kills vampires. Effect number 2, it kills humans. Effect number 3, it actually stops any healing factor which a human would have, which they get after becoming a vampire. And as a side effect that's really nasty that was covered in this episode basically, was that any vampire who was not killed, which actually was 10% of all vampires, actually developed like this super Hulk vampire, right? They became a Omega vampire level basically, and they were very hard to deal with. So that's what the characters encountered in this particular episode. Now fast forward to episode 5 right here, SisterHunt, Van Helsing fact. That's right, Van Helsing fact. This episode was directed by Kimani Ray Smith. He is no stranger to Van Helsing. He actually directed Miles and Miles. That was season 4, which was written by Jackie May. This particular episode was directed by Kimani Ray Smith, and it was written by Waneta Storms. From what I can tell, is new to the Van Helsing universe. I couldn't find any credits what she wrote before, and I can tell you that this combo of Kimani Ray Smith and Waneta Storms was a breath of fresh air. This episode was one of the most enjoyable episodes that I found so far in the season, and I gotta say, it's probably one of the scariest episodes so far of Van Helsing that I've actually watched. The whole episode itself, it felt really encapsulated. It felt like a small indie horror movie. So my hat goes off to you, Kimani Ray Smith, sir. This was definitely a dope episode. It had a really indie horror vibe to it. And I felt like those characters were living a moment within that moment. Even though there was a bigger arc, story arc right here with the Van Helsing universe, I feel like these characters were really just expressing who they were, and they were just getting into a lot of character development, and it felt really like it all really gelled fine and perfect. So I really enjoyed this episode. This episode was definitely the Jennifer Cheon, if I'm mispronouncing that name, my bad. Jennifer Cheon's Ivory character, who's been with us for many seasons. I gotta admit that she is probably my favorite new vampire turned human. No offense, Julius, you were my first vampire turned human favorite. So Jennifer Cheon's character, we finally got some background into her. In prior episode, we saw that she was a nun and she was burned at the stake. But in this episode, we actually got to delve into the character itself, how she felt, what are her emotions to be a vampire and live in this darkness for so long. We also discovered that Michaela herself turned her, and that she's been leading the sisterhood for a long time. So it was also interesting because the episode's called SisterHunt. I think is very appropriate because this was, I believe, it was the end of the sisterhood. This is the last season of Van Helsing, and they wiped out all the remaining sisterhood fan characters, right? All the characters are gone in sisterhood. They're all gone. So this was basically the end of the sisterhood. Moving forward, we won't be seeing any more of them. And I think that Ivy's character was a great pivot point to have it going from villain to hero, and I really like the chemistry between her and Violet in this episode. Not to forget you, Violet, because you became the Dark One and took all those fumes to the head right, and they came out. So at the end of the episode, basically, they left off to go find Jack. They read in the book that she's been doing things in the past, and I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to bring Jack from the past to the current time. Who knows, right? Put in the comments. Let me know what you think. Is Jack gonna be returned to the present time? Is time traveling gonna happen in reverse, or no? Maybe she's actually the ancestor to the Van Helsings, right? That'd be probably interesting. A little bit of more time paradoxing. I made that word up right there, right? Time paradox. So that's what happened basically in this episode. Put in the comments. Do you guys think that is Doc gonna be able to actually meet up with Jolene? Put it in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. What do you think about this Jennifer Cheon Ivory centric episode? Shout out to Ruben Penlubi, right? His Scab and Ivory were my favorite. They were basically my Bonnie and Clyde, and it was really cool to see Jennifer Cheon's Ivory character. She's very active on Twitter, by the way. Check her out. It was really cool to see her character basically just take off and like just have some introspect in this episode. So that was really cool. As always, guys, this is the Tone Show. Put it in the comments how you feel about this one. Tone Show. Woo!